Good afternoon, everybody. We are all in this digital era, and then, as a child I grew up, we hardly, probably we had one radio, all of us shared around. And as I grew up in the school, colleges, we had a computer, we had to wait for a slot to share the devices, right? You get 1 hour a week or something to use a computer. In the late 2000s, I think everybody started getting a computer at home. And the last 5-10 years, I think everybody has a digital device in hand, right? And maybe more than one. And while these devices are small, tiny, they are plentiful. I think every home probably has multiple smartphones, smart TVs, computers, and offices has. We had in an era we had one device being shared. We have multiple devices per person today. What are these devices causing? There are billions of devices. Today smartphones, billions of computers, billions of servers. What's the impact of this thing? All these consume energy. But they consume in small amounts, but if you add them together, it's a big number. Before going to the sustainability part, I just want to talk about a little bit of data points about what kind of damage these devices are causing in terms of e-waste, in terms of energy consumption, in terms of environmental impact, and so on. Typically, when you move out of a room, you turn off a light, but a computer or a smartphone keeps running on all the time. All these consumes energy. Similarly, a server, every time you buy a smartphone, 1,000 smartphone causes one server to be bought by somebody. Amazon or a Google of the Yahoos of the world buy one server for every 1,000 smartphones you use. Okay. Similarly, network switches, so many equipment gets procured by the companies as when you use devices. And what is the impact of them? Typically, a desktop, on average, consumes about nearly 300 units of energy every year. And today, in India and most part of the world, the energy source is primarily coal. There's a lot of CO2 emissions by the devices. Look at all the digital devices today. Which industry today you think is the most polluting today? Is it the automobiles or the aviation? Which do you think is the most polluting industry today? Anybody guess? Unfortunately, the number one polluting industry today is IT. Are you shocked? Because today IT consumes 10% of the energy, which is bigger than aviation, which is bigger than automobiles. Because it's invisible to you. It's quietly happening in the background, right? Because every time to produce electronic equipment costs energy, to discard it costs energy, you fill up landfills. While using the equipment, also you consume energy. What's the impact of this in the environment, right? To absorb the CO2 emissions, for example, if you're using a personal computer, to absorb the CO2 emissions of a computer in 1 year, you need to plant one fully grown tree. Similarly, for a server, you need about 9 trees, network equipment, a laser printer of 2 trees, a projector 3 trees. But we are not doing it. Still, we are cutting down trees. We are seeing impact of global warming everywhere, right? A few days back, we had a big hailstorm in Delhi. We had wildfires in Australia. We had the polar vortex in the American northern hemisphere, and so on. Let's get into a little more details about what is the impact of these devices make. Look at an electronic equipment, right? There's a lot of energy consumed in manufacturing, and there's equipment is transferred, manufactured in a factory in China or somewhere, moved to some other country, and use the equipment which costs energy. Then you throw out, discard the equipment, recycle. So the energy used everywhere. How do you optimize this usage, right? Those of you who discard phones every year, please rethink about it. 90% of the energy is consumed in manufacture and usage of the equipment. One important thing is to prolong the life of the equipment. If you use the equipment for longer, because energy has already been consumed by manufacturing it, you can at least reduce the carbon footprint. So any process of cutting CO2 should look at the manufacturing process and the usage process. Can you make the device more efficient? Can you make it more energy efficient, and so on, right? So look at the different kinds of equipment today. How much energy is consumed in the life cycle? A smartphone, a tablet, or a PC. Nearly 50% of the energy is consumed in production. Almost 30 to 40% is consumed in the usage. So production, we don't have too much control. It's the factories who produce it. They can, only thing we can do is make them more efficient while you are using them. At the same time, prolong their use. Don't throw away the devices, right? Keep the life as long as possible. And with billions of devices around the world, see the kind of impact we have made. For all the mobile phones we use, to offset the CO2 emissions, we need to plant 15 billion trees. Again, to offset CO2 emissions of tablets, we need 1 billion trees. For the computers, the PCs, 25 billion trees. I think instead of planting them, we are cutting them actually. And it's not sustainable. One side we talk about technology, and the other side we actually causing huge amount of damage to the environment. Today, I think we'll be at a point where our existence is at stake rather than the creating or innovating technology. What has happened is that we are simply creating technology without looking at the impact of the mankind and the environment. Unfortunately, it's continuing to happen so, and somewhere we need to wake up and see what we can do. And people talk about we're building efficient computing, IoT device, and so on. Let us look at how powerful is the human brain and how powerful is the biggest computer in the world today. IBM supercomputer, which can actually supposed to beat human beings in chess, it's supposed to be the most powerful computer today. To run the computer, it consumes 15 megawatts of energy, which can power a small area, right, a locality in India. And a human brain, which is more capable, runs at only 20 watts. So what inventions are we talking about? We are way beyond what nature has created, right? One of the things to do is, every time we create something, look at nature, how nature does it. Nature does it slow and steady. What we do is quick and dirty, right? And we need to look at the ways of solving this problem. And every computing device wastes at least 50% energy it uses, actually. Other than being inefficient, right? It's an order of magnitude, orders of magnitude inefficient than the human brain itself or any other natural resources today, right? What have we done at Vigyan Labs? We have been looking at innovating and creating energy efficient systems across the world. What is the kind of impact we have made till now? We have made 5.2 million devices in the world energy efficient. And the kind of energy we have saved is a terawatt hour. What's a terawatt hour energy, right? We can power Mumbai for an entire month, or power a Lucknow or a Mysore or any other Tier 2 city for 2 years completely. The kind of water we have saved. So today, as I said, majority of the energy consumption, energy production is through coal, thermal power plants. To produce 1 unit of energy, 95 liters of water is consumed because you need to heat boilers, you need good quality water. You can't use waste water. You need a very clear, clean water. Every time you burn a light or something, somewhere you are wasting water. Think about it. So when you save energy, you also indirectly saving water because it is used in production of energy. So you have saved millions of liters of water, and almost 500,000 tons of CO2 emissions. Equivalent of trees plant, you can just count. So that's the kind of impact we have made till now by our innovation in terms of energy efficiency in various digital devices. Let me talk about a little bit about what are kind of the things we have done. What do we do at Vigyan Labs? We have been building energy efficient systems for PCs, smartphones, servers, data centers, buildings. What do we do? Just to give a very simple, in a very layman's language, I think most of you use a smartphone. Already know that, right? The battery is low, you try to reduce the brightness, you turn off Wi-Fi, you turn off data, you turn off the GPS. You can do many things. You close the apps and all. Those are the visible things. So like this, any digital device has hundreds of chips built inside. Can you physically turn on each of them when you don't want it? You can't do it, right? Who will turn it on? So what we do is we use AI and machine learning to understand the usage pattern of every device and internally turn off these chips in real time without you knowing about it. That way we're able to save 30 to 50% of the energy across large companies. Just to give an example, one of the largest customers for us is SBI. In the 25,000 branches of SBI, we have saved 30 gigawatt hours of energy for last 2 years, which is equivalent to 30 crore rupees. This has been achieved by continuously innovating across various devices, and we have about 6 US patents on various kinds of energy optimizations. That's it. Our next goal is to we have saved a terawatt hour. Next 2 years we want to reach 10x that one. So 2 years back we had saved 100 gigawatt hours. 100 gigawatt we have saved 10 times that in last 2 years. Next 2 years our goal is to do 10 times that, so that we can power many cities. Today we feel that looking at the whole IT, energy and the digital world, one of the ways to cut down the carbon footprint is to make the device more energy efficient. And efficiency is one of the important aspects of reducing the energy consumption. IEA says that, the International Energy Agency says that you can meet your future energy goals. 30% of your future energy requirements can be met by energy efficiency. So these are the product suite we have. Basically the IPM Plus, the personal computing infrastructure, which we save power on desktops, laptops, smartphones. We have DC Optimizer, a data center where we cut down energy consumption on the data center. Then we have Akeso is basically a self-healer, which instead of preventing device from being failed, it will heal the device by itself. Then we have a smart buildings, which finds out energy efficiency in a building, energy inefficiency, wastage, and helps you to save energy. So we have, not only India, we have customers across the globe in various sectors, in the BPOs, banks, BFSI, manufacturing, power, telecom, hospitals. So we've been able to meet or exceed the sustainability goals of large organizations. And thank you for the patient hearing. Any questions you take?